Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. I'm Whitney Rose.
I'm Connie Daniels.
And today we are going to talk all things starting a business, what it took to build our brands, how we did it, what we would do again, what we would never do again, and the lessons we've learned along the way.
Are you sick? You sound a little stuffy and congested over there.
I was hoping that you wouldn't notice because I don't know if the 6-foot social distancing thing still counts, but I know I don't have COVID for sure. I tested negative, and I think I got this from you, bitch.
You probably did. I sound like I'm still sick. I think it's from
the hug and kiss at New Year's.
Oh.
So I didn't really tell you because
Sorry.
I thought, one, I was hiding it.
You didn't hide it.
But I also think you already had it.
I did. I got really sick. A lot of stuff was going around this winter. Like everyone I know has gotten sick.
Yeah.
So.
I think that they're calling it the 100-day cold. Like everyone has been sick for 100 days. And I had dodged it. But after I got back from New York, I got so sick.
Oh.
But I think it's from like New Year's. Everyone was kind of overcoming the cold. Mm-hmm. And then now I got it.
Dang it.
So don't kiss your friends because you'll get sick.
Well, this is so like you, though, to just work right through it, though. And, you know, you're one of the hardest workers that I know. I was in bed for 2 weeks straight. I'm like, Whitney, we got to reschedule.
I was in bed for 2 solid days. But, yeah, part of being a business owner and being a mom with younger kids, you have to power through. There's no rest for the wicked.
Yeah.
But are you okay to sit next to me, or do we need a social distance?
I'm good.
Because I swear you've already had it. It's probably the same thing.
Yeah, I think I have all the antibodies. I just still don't have my voice from the weekend. It was like a birthday party weekend.
Tell me about it. I haven't seen you in a while. Like, I can't go more than 3 days without seeing you. Otherwise, I feel like I've lost my best friend.
Oh.
So
I know, and there's always so much to catch up on, too.
Tell me, how was your week? How was the party?
It was fun. We rented a cabin up in Park City, a bunch of friends, and it was one of our good friends, Quincy's birthday. And it was a lot of fun. We had a sushi chef come up one day. We had another chef came and made Italian food. But, you know, I think like the elevation and like drinking and like loud music, and I feel like, do I just yell at people all weekend? Like, because I lost my voice.
Was there music?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you're trying to yell over the music or talk over the music.
And then I always come home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't talk, which I think is a blessing for Ben.
I couldn't have gone to a party if I wanted to over the weekend. I was so sick.
Dang it. Well, I'm glad you're feeling a little better. You look good.
Well, thank you. I mean, I hear wine helps. So.
Yeah, cheers to that. How have you been other than being sick?
Yeah.
Are you relieved to get to the end of the season finale of Real Housewives?
Oh my God. Cheers to the season finale, season 3 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Ooh. God rest your soul, season 3.
Wow.
Never come back.
You made it. Cheers to that.
Now that I will drink too.
Mm-hmm. It's a big season. It was a big season.
A lot of people have been kind of pissed off about it because they feel like it was cut short and that there was a lot left out and certain storylines were carried on too long. Like you've seen a lot of people complaining about like, why was the Wild Rose beauty party cut out when I had RuPaul's drag queens there, Manila and Jan?
I have to say, I was at this party and I was bummed that they cut that out because, that was a great party.
Yeah, and it was a huge party for me because I had a huge VIP guest list and influencers. I had press there because we had launched the Restore Stem Cell Cream at that event.
That's right.
And we sold out at the event. So it was a big, a lot of people are just complaining, like a lot of storylines, like especially I feel like around me, I'm going to be selfish here, but it's the truth. That's what people are saying is like what happened with you're going through and processing childhood abuse, all that. Lisa, like a lot of things were cut out, and then the black guy story was drug on way too long, and I don't even want to talk about the fucking black guy. I'm so sick of talking about it.
I think everyone's sick of it.
That I'm just like, thank God it's over. I know people are bummed. I'm sorry you're bummed, but I trust producers. I trust Bravo. I trust the process, and I think it was best this way because we have reunion coming up, and as everyone knows, Miss Jen Shaw was not in attendance. However, reunion was good. I left feeling more empowered and like relieved. So
Good.
I'm just glad season 3 is done.
Yes. Take a breath.
I don't ever want to do a season 3 over again. Like that.
I don't think you can redo that season.
No.
So on to bigger and better things. It's a brand new year.
Yeah.
It's a brand new season coming up.
I've been working really hard on Prism. We launch officially on the 24th of January.
Exciting.
At Sundance Film Festival. So
exciting.
That's been keeping me busy, just planning that. We have a 2-day event. I'm excited about that, but something funny. Connie and I, can I share about how we just discovered we have the same therapist?
Oh my gosh, yeah. We did bump into each other, just didn't realize where it would be.
So I started with a new therapist recently.
And so did I. Yeah, so did I.
It's the same guy.
Same guy, same one. So Small Lake City, everyone who lives here knows the term Small Lake City.
Yes.
If there is somebody that is good at their job, everyone will share that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that I did hear about him through you. I just didn't realize we would be going at the same time and like our appointments were on the same day.
Yeah.
But do we have to disclose to our therapist that we both go to him?
And how close of friends we are?
Yeah.
I don't know if it comes up, I'm sure.
Like, luckily I'm not really like talking about you in therapy. Like you're not part of my problems.
Oh gosh, that's a relief.
Yeah. But, at least we know now if something ever does come up, we can just go to therapy together.
That's right. And we can hash it out, the 3 of us.
But we should probably plan to not go with our spouses on the same day.
Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah, let me know when your next one is scheduled. Because I think my next one is I did my first one alone. But my next one is with Ben. Because, I think everyone needs a sounding board. So.
Yeah.
This will be good.
My next one is with Justin. It's next week.
Wow.
I'm on Tuesday. What day are you going?
I believe it's Tuesday as well.
Shit.
But it's at night.
Okay. When we are done recording, so is mine. Mine's at late at like 7.
Oh, ours is 8.
Oh my God. Should we just make it a couple's date? We'll go to dinner before.
We might as well. Jeez.
So yeah, Connie and I figured out that we have the same therapist, and apparently
I'm like, we're fine with it and we're open. Men sometimes are not as open with those kinds of things. So we'll just have to kind of fill them out and see. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm just proud of both of them for being willing to go. I know, like, even in good marriages, like, things are hard. And sometimes, like, Justin and I love the fuck word today. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone. But, like, sometimes it's just fucking hard. And like we were talking about earlier, you can have the same conversation over and over, but there's no resolve and no, like, nothing constructive comes up from it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, one of my therapists had said to us, every couple has like a dance that they do. So one person will say something and we kind of know each other's buttons, and not that that's what we're trying to do, but we have like these cycles or this dance that we do. And if you do it over and over and over, it's what the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And then you're like, why are we still having this conversation? I need somebody to walk us through it. And I don't want to always put that on all my friends. So yeah, I am proud of them for doing it with us, because sometimes it's not as easy for men. And I think maybe sometimes their ego tells them that, like, it's a sign of weakness, but it's not.
I think it's a sign of strength and courage. And I think it's harder to do the work. And I think that says more about individuals who are willing to go and do the work. And it says that you have a healthy marriage because you're staying together, like you're doing the work. And that's hard.
Right.
Running away is easier than
for sure
sitting there and doing the work. And
I'll tell you what, sometimes I just want to run away.
I have those moments too. And sometimes I have, like, emotionally just like shut off, but I don't want to do that either. And I mean, we could talk about this on a whole nother episode, but yeah.
Yeah. But
there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, there always is. And I'm going to share one last thing on this topic really quick that was shared with me at my first appointment. And it's such a good analogy. My therapist asked me, are you willing to go to the places that you need to? It might be really hard. And I said, yeah. And he said, because right now it's kind of like you have a flashlight and you're looking into a tunnel and you can maybe see 20 or 30 feet in front of you. And so you see those problems and you can kind of like work on those things. But then as you step forward, your flashlight's going to shine further down that tunnel and you're going to see things that right now aren't even in your consciousness. And so he kind of was prepping me for things that I know why I went, why I showed up, why I made the appointment, but he's kind of prepping me like, as we go, there might be some deeper things and that you haven't even thought of that come up. And anyway, I'm intrigued by it. I'm a little nervous by it, but I think overall, it's like, when it's necessary, it's like, I don't want to keep repeating that cycle or that dance. So anyway, yeah, I love that flashlight analogy.
Yeah, it's so true.
I'm working on yourself, so it's cool. But I have something funny to share. So I decided that we need our own little TikTok account. And
for the podcast?
Yeah, for the podcast. Yeah. So I asked my daughter, as one does, who has no idea how TikTok works. And she helps me set up a new account. And I put our first little clip on there. And I'm all excited. And, she's giving me all these pointers on, how it all works. And so I go into my phone to look at it, like within 15 minutes of posting our first little clip. And it was our first episode that we did together. And it got shut down. It got taken off of there. And yeah, so I was so confused. And it said, I had to write it down because I was like, what kind of, like, what did I violate? It said I violated community guidelines. So Jenica and I listened to the clip. It's like 25 seconds. We listened to it and I didn't use a swear word. It wasn't anything inappropriate that we were talking about. And she stopped and she looked at me and she goes, Mom, I think that they took it down because of your boobs, because of your cleavage.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we couldn't think of any other reason. So you can appeal it. So I appealed it.
So they don't tell you what you specifically violated.
Yeah, they just say you violated by the community, standards or guidelines. And
were we wearing our Be Fucking Nice shirts?
No.
It was the first one we did.
No, so I had a brown sweater on, and it kind of cut low.
But girls are in bikinis on TikTok.
Yeah. So Jenica told me that. My daughter, that if you use certain language or do certain things on there, you can do it, but there has to be like an age appropriate, or like you have to be a certain age or 18 and older to watch it. And so I don't know if my cleavage is that? I'm really modest today. I'm like in a shirt up to my neck. Now I'm nervous about it.
No, like I feel like I have done a lot of things. If we're going down that track, I've done a lot of things that violate the guidelines and it wasn't taken down. Yeah. I think we need to appeal it and find out. Yeah, I appeal it and see why.
Yeah,
but if it's over your cleavage, like that's bullshit.
It's the only, I know, that's the only thing we could even think of because
I've posted like remixes and stuff on my TikTok of like rolling in the sand to be funny in a bikini. Uh-huh. So that doesn't make sense to me. And I see like very provocative things on TikTok.
I don't know what it is.
I'm going to dig into this. Do you think someone flagged us?
Maybe.
Like one of my classmates?
It was within maybe 15 minutes or less.
Okay, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
I did put
Nancy Drew is showing up to work, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Yeah. I feel like someone shadow banned us.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Maybe I did hashtag like Real Housewives of Salt Lake.
Your boobs are big and beautiful, but I doubt that's what shut it down.
Yeah. I don't know. We're digging into this. We're going to figure it out because
Nancy Drew's on the case. Don't worry. All right. Well, after the break, when we come back, we are going to talk all things starting a business, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wins, the losses, and everything that we've learned along the way. Connie, I feel like I'm always texting you about my medical problems, especially over this last year.
Yeah, like remember that one time when you sent me that text with a picture of that weird bruise?
Yeah, that was bizarre because I didn't get injured, but I had a giant bruise rash-looking thing on my back.
I had no clue.
Well, I'm excited to tell you that you'll no longer be getting those weird texts with images of unknown things on my back because I found a new app called ZocDoc.
Oh, thank God.
As I've learned, it's extremely unlikely to find professional medical advice in a group text. However, you can find it from a doctor on ZocDoc.
Thousands of medical professionals on ZocDoc are there to help you. They listen like a friend, and they give you the expert care and advice you need.
ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and available when you need them. And they treat almost every condition under the sun, like the bruise on my back.
No more doctor roulette or scouring the internet for questionable reviews. With ZocDoc, you have a trusted guide to connect you to your favorite doctor that you haven't met yet.
Millions of people use ZocDoc's free app to find and book a doctor in their neighborhood who is patient-reviewed and fits their needs and schedule just right.
Go to ZocDoc.com/wildrose and download the ZocDoc app for free. And then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours.
That's ZocDoc.com/wildrose. ZocDoc.com/WILDROSE. Hey, wild ones, welcome back. I am still tripping out over the fact that Connie's boobs broke TikTok. The Wild Rose podcast is too provocative for TikTok, so we're going to dive into that. But
it's too wild. I'm going to try to post another one today and see what I can figure out. But yeah.
I mean, it's blowing my mind, but I'm going to put it aside for the sake of today's topic. But I think it's very obvious. Everyone already knows that I've started businesses. I have Wild Rose Beauty, I have Prism, and the Wild Rose podcast. But Connie, I don't think the audience really knows how business savvy you are and all the businesses that you've actually started and all the things you've done. We have a lot to cover today. But first question I want to ask you is, what has been your favorite business that you've started?
Oh, my favorite one. I'll tell you what I thought was about to be my favorite one ended up being a huge flop. It was a workout supplement company. And I love to work out. And I thought if there's passion behind your business, that's what will make it work. Well, even still, sometimes it doesn't work, but you have much better odds of your business working out if you have the passion behind it and not just, oh, we can make money because people want this thing.
Well, you're going to work hard for what you're passionate about.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, yeah, we invested in this company and, I had a big talker in, talking about how great this was going to be and how if I bet on this horse, this is the horse that I needed to bet on was him. And he really had me convinced that he was going to, do everything it took to make this company work. And
were you 50-50 on the company?
I'm not sure he invested his own money in it. I think he got a few investors, and so we were one of them.
So you were the investors. He was going to be the doer.
Yeah. Okay. He had a lot of connections. Played in the NFL and had a lot of connections and stuff.
But you had how much did you have control over the actual product and building out the supplements and the brand and all of that?
Yeah, actually quite a bit. So Ben took over that part of it. I was going to go to fitness conventions and get our name out and do that part of it. That's what I thought would be really fun. But as far as the product and marketing and all of that stuff, Ben had he stepped in and just started doing. That's just how he does everything, whether that's his role or not. He'll just step in and do everything and then get overwhelmed. But anyways, yeah. So that one was probably one I was most disappointed because I was excited.
Because you ended up getting celebrity endorsements, celebrity athletes, right?
Yeah. We were right on the verge of, and it was one of these athletes. It was right after the Super Bowl, and they had just won the Super Bowl, and I won't say who it was, but just because it didn't end up working out. But yeah, so yeah, that was a bummer.
So what happened there? Why did it fail?
So I think, that's a good question. Like, because everyone wasn't doing their role to make it happen. And so that was one thing I was actually going to talk about today is like doing business with friends or even partners. If you have a partner, it's so important to have everything written out as to who has what role and like a really clear operating agreement. So because what happens is you start doing business and it's all fun and exciting and new until something goes wrong. And then when something goes wrong, especially if it's a friend or somebody from a family member or something, it takes a huge toll on your relationship, which is a huge bummer.
Yeah.
So, but if everything's written out and it's clear, then it's like, it can be a more clean cut if you have to end things. It can be more clean cut and
or
maybe
if
can
it's
salvage
going
a friendship.
wrong, you can always go back to that operating agreement saying, you agreed on this.
Yes.
I agreed on this.
Yes. Like,
do
remember?
we need to change this?
Right.
Is this no longer working? But do you find, like, I found that starting a business is so much harder than you could ever even imagine. Like, I can't even put into words how hard it is and how much work it actually takes.
Right.
And it's not, it sounds fun and it is fun, but you have to be committed to the work.
Right. And I think a lot of people that are entrepreneurs or they want to start their own company because they don't want to work for somebody else and they have an idea or a dream. And they think, oh, good, this is going to be great. I won't have this 9-to-5 job that's boring or whatever. But I think, yeah, exactly. It's like, well, no, you don't have 9-to-5. Now you work 24/7. Like, now you're going to be working around the clock all the time. You don't have set hours. That's true. But you're going to be working your butt off to get it up and going. Because what do they say? It takes most businesses about 2 years to become profitable.
Yeah, I mean, that's aggressive. Most books or most things that I've learned and heard, or like coaches I've worked with, say 5 years. Like it's a 5 to 10 year, depending on your service, your product, and how much money you have in cash flow you have. But typically, you work your ass off for like 5 years, 5 to 10 years before you actually get to that point where it's more like a 9-to-5 versus a 24/7.
So with Wild Rose, where are you at? I know you just rebranded. How did you come up with this idea of, for all those who don't know, how did you come up with this idea? What made you want to start your own skincare line?
Yeah, that's a good question because I'm not a dermatologist. I'm not an esthetician, but I am obsessed with health, wellness, and skincare. I'd say have always been a skincare junkie and a skincare enthusiast. My dad, he owned hair schools and an aesthetic school. So I grew up in the aesthetics world, going to my dad's school. I'd always let the students do facials on me, things like that. I've always been around high-end skincare. However, I've always had difficult skin. So I would be using, medical grade skincare. I'd be using department store skincare from the health food store. And I just really felt like nothing was ever working for my skin. I have very dry skin. Until Wild Rose Beauty, I had very sensitive skin. Things would make me break out quickly. And I can't use any harsh chemicals. They burn my skin. You remember when I got that nasty burn on my cheek from TCA. So I just had this passion for figuring out, I knew I wanted results. I want my skin to be clear, healthy, glowing, but I can't find anything on the market that's working for me. So I really started making my own serums when I was like 18, 19. I'd go to Good Earth here in Utah and mix all different oils and different ingredients together, pay attention to what was working. And I kind of carried that on throughout my adulthood. After I had Brooks, I remember I was standing in the shower with Justin and I found a face wash that finally worked for me. And I was like, Justin, someday I'm going to make my own skincare line because I'm so sick of spending all this money and nothing works. So
I love that you remember the moment.
Yeah.
That moment.
I still remember I was pumping it out it was like a foaming cleanser, and it didn't dry out my skin. And so I just really learned, I'm like, what about this cleanser didn't dry my skin out? Well, that cleanser is no longer around. So I had to make it myself. I had to figure it out. So I decided I'm going to figure out how to prove to the world that natural works. Natural ingredients is what your skin craves, and it's what it needs to work. So I just had a passion for natural skincare that actually worked. And
so you found a problem, and then you figured out a solution, which I think is key to any new company, because there's a lot of things out there, there's a lot of products out there, and if it's a product-based company, you have to find like what, like you said, like you couldn't find something that worked, and you can't be the only one out there with that type of skin.
No, and that was the whole thing. I'm like, if I can change my skin, I can change other people's skin. And actually, one of the labs I work with here in Utah, I was one of the first people to bring peptides to them. I like all these ingredients that are so popular now, like hyaluronic acid, peptides. You're going to start hearing more about DMAE and MSM. I have been working with those ingredients for 5 years, but I was nobody.
Yeah.
Like I haven't had enough money to blow it up.
Right.
So I've just been slowly building my product line and my brand off of organic word of mouth marketing. And, becoming a housewife, that's why I did it. That's why I did Housewives, is for the marketing platform and for the opportunity to build my skincare brand and my brand as myself. But I mean, I feel like I've hit every pitfall you can imagine. And I've been selling, to answer your question, I've been selling Wild Rose Beauty now for just over a year. And it has done extremely well, but I still have so much work to do. Like I still have...
You work on this every single day.
Every single day. Every day, day in, day out. It wakes me up at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. I'm stressed about it. It's all I think about. It's all I do. And now I've started another business, Prism. And sometimes I think I'm insane.
Role. Yeah, sometimes you think you're insane.
Yeah, but like that's the thing, is when it's hard, that's like, are you going to sink or swim? Like, are we gonna sink or swim? Am I gonna push through this, or am I gonna give up?
Right.
And every time I've chose to not give up, I have seen at the other end of that it was worth it.
Right. We started a hair extension company, and when we were in the middle of that, one of my partners, I believe, she said, I was talking to a friend of mine, because we were kind of at that point where, we had our brand, we had our product, we did our research, to get the best quality and make everything look great. And then some things shifted and changed, but we got all the way to the point to push the product. And then it was like I said, things changed. But she said at that point, if this is the point in business, like when you're, like you said, sink or swim, where most businesses fail, because you get overwhelmed and you stop and you freeze, and the business goes under and it doesn't take off. And sometimes you're already taken off, but you came into an obstacle along the way. And if it ends up feeling too much, it's in that moment, am I going to sink or swim? So anyway, she had told me the reason why not everyone owns a hair extension company is because when it gets to this point, most people give up.
Yep. So in that moment, I would love to hear what your advice is in that moment, because for me, it's like you have to know that as an entrepreneur and building a brand, it's so hard when you're in it to see how far you've actually come. So you've built this hair extension brand, it's all ready to go. Now it's so overwhelming to like hit the pavement and sell it. You're exhausted, you're burnt out. One mishap feels like it's the detriment for the rest of the time, right? Like you can't keep going. So what advice do you have? Because I think anyone who is currently working on a business, starting a business, or thinking about a business needs to know that you are going to be exhausted, overwhelmed, feel like you're in over your head at all times. But for me, I always tell people, I'm like, you have to pause and zoom out and celebrate the monumental moments that you've already passed. Building a website, that's a huge win. Most people don't even make it past that.
Right.
What is your story? What is your product? So like for me, I always tell people like one way to help with the overwhelmness and like to take another deep breath and get another wind under your sail, if you will, is you like to get that second wind. You have to honor and celebrate how far you've already come.
I think that's important. That's important for sure. And then you have to stop and, like you have to stop and think how much of this is just a dream and how much of this am I actually doing?
Yeah.
Like what percentage of this am I just still dreaming about and what percentage am I just putting the work into, And
I think along with that, like the doing part is you can't control everything. So control what you can control. You can't just like, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to chip away at it piece by piece. But like what you're saying is you actually have to do the work.
Right.
And it's not like, help me say this, like the overwhelmingness, like you can help combat that. The overwhelming feeling, you can help combat it by controlling what you can control. Well, I can't control the fact that the factory just shut down because of COVID.
I remember that. You couldn't get certain ingredients or bottles, but you didn't throw your arms up either because you thought, I'm still going to push away at the things I can still do and the products I still can get made and I can still sell. And then when these other people can get back to me and get me the products I need, then I can get going on the rest of it again. But you can't control that.
No, and something I've learned about that, like if you just tell your customers complete transparency. This happened with me with caps. I couldn't get the same cap that I launched with, so I had to change it. I had to change a bottle. But if you just tell your customer, hey, it's either we don't sell you this because the cap is a different color because of supply chain right now, everything is shut down or it's taking extra long right now because of, for me, everything's made in the US, but labor, like people aren't working. So everything's taking forever. Or I can just discount you or give you a code for the inconvenience, but now you have a white cap instead of a black cap or whatever it may be. But you can't control everything and you can't control most everything, but you can control what you can control, meaning you just have to be okay with pivoting and focus on what you can do. So, because we've talked about so far, you've gone into business with dreamers. So how much of it do you think is like dreaming and doing? Like what percentage?
It's interesting. Yeah, with me in business, it never really was ever my dream. It was somebody else's dream brought to me. And I decided if it was a good fit. And, like the hair extensions, like I did hair for 10 years and I had to market myself, not so much a product or anything, but I had to market myself to be successful at hair. So when this dream was brought to me, I thought, okay, like this fits in my life and I can see your dream. And I think it's interesting enough to me that I'll go in and I'll see what I can do and what I can contribute to make this dream happen and make this dream become my dream. But that's kind of where I also went wrong because I didn't have the passion. I looked at it and I thought we can make money. And, ultimately with most business, that's what you're trying to do is make some money. So, but I didn't have the passion behind it. And so when we did get to the sink or swim, I sunk. And, but I think that if it was, I can't say for sure, but I think I definitely would have given it more had it been my own dream and my own passion behind it. So, yeah. So like I've also done.
So if you would have started, if the hair extension, let's just take that one. If that was your dream in that sinking moment, you don't think you would have drowned?
I think I would have stayed afloat longer for sure. I can't say I wouldn't have eventually sunk because sometimes some things we put everything into it and it still doesn't work. We've had a business like that. We owned a nightclub and we put everything into it and we were young. This was like, gosh, our kids were little and we mortgaged our house and put it in on a nightclub. Like brilliant idea, right?
In Utah.
In Utah of all places. Hey. And so That one was also not a passion or a dream, but I could see like, oh, we could make money here.
Was it Ben's passion?
No. In fact, he didn't even love going out to bars. And so I was surprised he wanted to do it. But I think he saw that it could be lucrative if we did it right. Our problem is we went in way over our heads. We did a mega club that was like 17,000 square feet. Like we didn't just start with a little bar. So, yeah, that's a whole other story in and of itself, the nightclub business in Utah.
But to speak to your point, like something I've learned, because I launched Iris and Beau, that was the brand I launched Wild Rose Beauty under with a business partner that went south. I bought out my business partner. I had a sink or swim moment with that. But what I learned is I launched with 13 SKUs. You have to have a focus. Like start small, start with one thing, one product. Focus on being the best you can be at that one thing. So like with the nightclub, maybe you should have just focused on, let's start with the first floor.
Right. Or like a dive bar. Yeah, let's go find a little dive bar we can turn into something.
You have to be so intentional and so focused on being an expert at one thing before you bring on. I think that's something I've learned is like being so narrow focused on what you're good at. Which
is really hard for an entrepreneurial brain, because if you look at all these different entrepreneurs, they, like you just said, I just took on a second company and I wonder like, oh my gosh, am I crazy? Because now you've just expanded that, but that is how an entrepreneur's mind works. So if you can narrow it as you begin, I think you have probably like more hope of a success at it to build on something than to like blow the gates open and then run out of steam.
Right. And they all have to be you. You have to be passionate about it. Like Wild Rose Beauty and Prism, they're two different companies, but they serve the same purpose.
Yeah.
The
underlying.
So, yeah. What would you say your biggest, because I feel like every entrepreneur has something that they're really good at, like their skill set. What is your biggest strength and your biggest weakness? Like if you had to say, okay, I'm really good at this. This is what I'm really bad at. This is what I would work on or hire out if I could.
This is a great question, because I think knowing your weaknesses and your strengths that's how you become like a success. Because if you can't identify those, it's like hit and a miss so many times, right? So to answer that, like I would say I've thought about this a lot, even like in my real estate business. And the one thing that I know that I am good at is I'm good with people. I'm a good conversationalist, and I can connect with people. And that is part of my passion and who I am. Like connecting with people is so important to me, and it fills me, hopefully as much as it fills them, probably fills me more. But it made me good at real estate because, these people are buying a home. This is part of their life. And I could kind of dive in and see what was most important to them as a family or as a couple or as a single person. So a weakness, I would say, I'm not good at multitasking. I learned that really quick. I was a server for like 2 weeks, like a million years ago. And I could not keep anything straight. Who just sat down, who was finishing, who needed a water refill. Like I'm terrible at multitasking. So that's good to know too, because then like if I say we're to start another business or something, I would know I need to delegate things so that I don't get overwhelmed and shut down. Yes. Some people are better at handling a lot of things at the same time. But what would you say for you? What have you learned about yourself there?
My biggest, like I am a dreamer and I have insane vision, and I think I'm really good at bringing my vision to life. I can chase it and I can get it. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty and the operational stuff, I'm terrible. And I realized that I always need to set myself up with success by having someone help me do those things that I'm bad at. Like the task list. I know that sounds crazy, but my mind doesn't think that way. Like I store it all in my brain, and it's hard for me to like get it out and delegate to people. That's harder for me. I'd rather just get it done myself. So something that I've learned is I hate managing people because it's really hard for me to get what's in my brain out to other people.
Yeah. I found like just being your friend or seeing you with like different, business stuff you're working on, or even like housewife stuff and people that are helping you with different things. Like, I think you say things because it's on your list in your brain, but then that person is so confused. They're like, what is she talking about? And you get frustrated because you're like, I swear I said this. And they're like, I don't think that you did, know? So yeah.
So for me, I have to really align myself with people or hire people or work with people that can really are super self-starting in that they already know what questions to ask and what to look for because I'll miss it. So like they have to make the list for me. If I'm given a list, I will pump it out.
Right.
And I'll get it done. But I don't like managing people. And for me, it's like 3 times the energy to train someone on what I do. So for me, what I've learned is I like to find other people who are already experts in that. So I hire on the expert who's the expert at sourcing or the expert at social media. And that's been hard because I've been a one-woman band for 5 years.
Right.
And I've done it. I've gotten this far and I'm just at the point now where I don't have the bandwidth. But every time I try to hire people or train people, it's just not my strong suit. Like I'm not a manager of people. I would rather just work with like agencies or figure it out myself. Honestly, like
because then it will get done right, and it'll get
even
done.
Just recently, like I had to my team transitioned over. There was no ill will; it was just time to part ways. But I had to learn how to do email marketing, text message marketing. I had to learn how to do Google Ads on my own. That is something I did not know how to do. It was so foreign to me, but I took the time, I learned it, and now I can manage it all on my own, and it only takes me about 3 to 5 hours a week to manage it.
Nice. Did you happen to learn how to do TikToks while you were learning all those things?
TikToks is still on the bottom of my list.
I'm just wondering, I need some help with that.
But I just think that it's okay to lean into the things that you're scared of because you'll know right away, is this a fear of the unknown? Is it hard because I've never learned it? Or is this, it's not my strength? So you have to identify, is it just the fear or is it a weakness? Because you can build both. Like if you're in the sink or swim moment, I chose, I'm not going to drown. So I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do it. And it might look messy and it might not be perfect. I remember one of my first email campaigns I sent out, like the title was wrong. There was spelling errors, but I'm like, that's okay. Cause I did it.
Yeah,
I figured out how to do this. Right. And I just think that you have to be willing as an entrepreneur to know that it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really messy. But if you just control what you can control, to do one thing at a time and learn how to time manage and prioritize.
And chomp away at it little by little.
Yeah.
And not get overwhelmed by the big pictures so much all the time, which is easy to do.
And look at me now. Like think of when back with Iris and Bo, when I had that opportunity to get into Ipsy Glam Bag. Remember? We got into Ipsy Glam Bag, 250,000 sample units of hyaluronic acid in 2 weeks. I mean, you were there. The warehouse was full of people filling, labeling, boxing product.
We had a big, huge order and a time frame that was almost impossible. So Whitney
and the product was the product was delayed because of the snowstorm. Remember?
That's right. So Whitney and her partners were reaching out to everyone to help, like with the packaging and get this all together so we could meet this deadline. And gosh, it was stressful. We had
local church organizations, hockey teams, helping me label bottles and get this order out the door. And Ipsy Glam Bag is a subscription bag where you sign up and they send you 5 products a month. That was a huge, huge deal as a nobody startup. Like that was before season 1 of Housewives had aired.
Yeah.
Or it was during. Like no one knew who I was yet. And I got into Ipsy and I mean, when you do what it takes, I stayed up for 4 days straight working on this. I drove a box truck with 13 pallets of product to Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas through the night.
In the snow.
And there was a max speed in the truck of 65. The seats didn't recline. There's no radio. And I drove our good friend Ashley, one of my best friends, drove the freaking truck so that I could sleep because I hadn't slept in days. Mm-hmm. And we would just keep each other awake. It's on my, if you go to my Instagram, Whitney Rose, there's actually a story highlight and you can watch the whole journey. But that's what it takes. So I drove one of the trucks. Another truck went to South Carolina. We hired a private driver to get that one there. I delivered by hand 13 pallets of hyaluronic acid. 2 weeks later, find out that we failed the shipping test. Our caps were leaking. I invested $300,000 into that, and I lost it. You talk about wanting to just give up forever. Like, I did not know how I was going to come back from that. I didn't know how I was going to get that money back. I did not know how or what I was going to do. But that exercise, that loss, taught me that I was in a bad business partnership. Mm-hmm. It uncovered a lot. So I bought out my business partner. I rebranded to Wild Rose Beauty. I went from 13 SKUs to 5. I focused on my core, what I was good at. Mm-hmm. And 1 year later, I have Wild Rose Beauty. I have made all the money back on profits. And it wasn't, and I attribute that to not giving up.
Right. That's when your dream is bigger, or you're doing even more than your dream. You know, you are.
Yeah. Like that,
when you wanted to probably just throw your hands up several times during that. But
like losing that money could have ended in a divorce. It could have ended in me not having Wild Rose Beauty. Trust me, I wanted to give up. Like, I wanted to self-sabotage, but I knew that if I could do that, the cap thing was a mishap, and it was someone else's fault. Mm-hmm. And but I took accountability for my part in it. And I just saw a squirrel. Like, I saw my neighbor walking their dog, and now I'm distracted. But anyways, I knew that if I got into Ipsy as a nobody, now I'm kind of a something. Like, more people know my name, more people know my brand. I made that money back on profits. I didn't get divorced. Like, I can do this. Why would I give up now?
Right.
But that takes, like, you have to look at yourself in the mirror very authentically and own where you went wrong and never do those things again. You have to pivot. Mm-hmm.
For sure. I think that's like the silver lining in pushing through, or if you have a business that fails, like we've done multiple business deals that have failed, but when we look back, it's like, well, yeah, we didn't make the money on it, or we lost money on it, but the people that we met and the connections that we met through these businesses have led us to other opportunities and other relationships in our lives that we would not have had we not gone through and, you know, stuck our neck out there to try to make something happen. You know, that I feel like is more important than even the money that we would have made, or, you know, the money we lost. It's so you kind of...
Well, it's all stepping stones to where you are. Mm-hmm. It's a foundation. And you might, when you started out with nightclubs, real athlete hair, real estate, like, you didn't know what your end thing was going to be, but like somehow you have a Fendi sweater. Like you don't know, when you start, it doesn't always end how you think it's going to. And I think you have to be open to that.
Right. When you can't see the end of, you know, you can't see the light at the end of this tunnel, when you get stuck in moments or something doesn't work out, there always is a shift. There always will be a change. And, you know, yeah, money comes and goes. And
there is one more tip I want to leave, because I've wanted this to be like tips and tricks and funny moments, but you never know where our podcast is going to go. Let's be honest.
That's true.
But something that I really learned is like, okay, if you have an idea and you want to start a business, there's something you want to do, I know it's stressful if you don't have money. Like it takes money to build a business, but something I've realized is if you don't have money, you have people. And if you just ask people to help you, donate their time, donate whatever. For example, if you have a product and you want to launch it and you want to do a little event, but you don't have event budget, like ask people if they'll donate whatever their trade is and you collab together. Like collaboration is everything. And I really think that I am where I am because I have relied on my network of friends who are also starting businesses or are successful businesses, or I've just reached out to huge brands like Ipsy, like Trixie Cosmetics. Like if you just ask people, they will help you. And that'll go further than dollars.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just think that YouTube videos can teach you everything. I don't want to give away my secrets, but I've learned all my marketing skills on YouTube and Google. Just Googled it, picked an app on Shopify, and learned how to do it.
Do you think this is why
that glamorous? People like I read how to do it and I practiced, trial and error. I'm still figuring it out. I still laugh when people on social media hate on me and they're like, your marketing makes no sense. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. It's 3 a.m. and I'm trying to figure out how to like connect all of these things together. Like I got on Amazon and I don't even know how to send out the link to the button yet. So chill. Like it's not as glamorous. Did you get like
Exactly,
I don't think starting a business is as glamorous as people make it seem. It's really hard. But Google, YouTube, and your friends. Or so, like reach out to someone that you admire on social media and ask them how, like just take a chance. The worst case scenario is they're going to say no or not respond.
Right. I think just getting used to no's or getting used to a failure, standing back up. It's about how many, I mean, I know it's cliche or cheesy, but it's not about how many times you fail. It's about how many times you stand back up. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yep.
So.
And it's like a muscle, don't you think? Like the more times that you, like rejection is scary, but like the more times you stand up quicker every time.
Yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't hurt as bad when you fall.
Right. I'm just thinking like, is that how it feels like on Housewives when you guys yell at each other?
Oh my God, it's exactly
Is it
like
easier?
that.
It's easier to take it after so long. It's like, oh yeah, of course you're yelling at me again.
That's so funny you said that because just the other day I went on Margaret Joseph's podcast and we were talking about that when you have like all the haters online like coming at you when your castmates are yelling at you. It literally is like muscle memory. It's a muscle that you build and the first like 100 times it hurts and it's terrifying. But like the 105th time you're like, okay, we're doing this again. Like it's muscle memory. Like you learn how to flex it and it's becomes second nature.
Totally.
Yeah. Like I remember the first time someone mocked my brand or something and it devastated me. And now you'll see me in the comments like snapping back funny to them. Like I remember one of the things someone said to me was like, why would we want a face that looks like why would I buy your skincare? I don't want a face like yours. And I was like, thank you. Because I said, thank you, cat of Instagram. I don't want to be a cat. Because their profile was like all cat pictures. And you just like learn to like laugh at it.
And not take it personal.
And
because
honestly, Housewives has taught me like, and starting businesses has taught me if you don't have haters, you're probably not doing it right yet.
Yeah.
You're not making a big enough impact yet. So you want people to love and you want the positivity, but if you're not getting criticism and feedback, then you're not making a wave big enough yet. The minute that you are and people are coming at you or like, you've had that with businesses and friends, like jealous of your success so they hate on you. Like that's how you know you're making an impact, and it's a good thing. Just learn to bounce back.
Totally. And you're creating a wave, girl. I had to take freaking surf lessons to keep up.
Aw,
No, for real. I think I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you for going from the boogie board to surf.
Oh, yeah. It's a big wave. You can't boogie board on a big wave.
I mean, I wouldn't want to try. Yeah, well, any last tips, advice?
I think just like for our listeners, if you're starting a business, if you have like questions, we're not experts on it, but we've been through enough. And, if you just need even a little extra encouragement, reach out to us.
Yeah. I think we should do, I will follow up with another, like to speak to Connie's point, like if it is of interest to people, DM us and we'll do like our biggest no's and our biggest do's, like things that we wish we didn't waste so much time and money on versus what worked. That kind of, I don't know. I always appreciate when people help me with stuff like that.
For sure.
But, all right.
Yes.
Well, I will see you at therapy next week.
Yeah. We can work through this and get ready for a reunion coming up. And
we have
it's gonna be
a little break for you. I think there's like a 2-week break before reunion, so everyone can catch their breath, get ready for reunion. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for listening and for tuning in. We love you and we appreciate your support. And as always, don't forget to be you and stay wild.